Welcome to the Dragon's Den. I'm the young old man, and today I want to talk about like the myth of there not being a lot of positive black people in media, particularly for people like in my generation between the age range of like 35 and 50. I mean, it pisses me off because people in that age range between 35 and 50, it was talking about how they didn't see themselves in movies and films and television, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because like I have vivid memories of seeing black people all the time, and it wasn't all negative. Like, yeah, there was a lot negative, and there was a lot more negative than positive, depending on your point of view. But how you gonna say you didn't see positive representations of black people in media? Like, that doesn't make any sense if you're in that age range between 35 and 50, right? So that's why between 86, between like 70, 71, 70, and 86, right? You born anywhere in there, and you still saying that stuff that you probably heard your parents say or your grandparents say, and you're repeating it. Like, you're a liar. You need to do some re-examination. It's like, for them, for the people that are your parents, your older, it was a real statement. There wasn't a lot, like, at all, right? And they had to look for it. They had to search for it. By the time we came around and we was growing up, it's like we didn't have to search for it. It was there. Wasn't as plentiful as we would probably have liked, of course, but like, given the history of the country, we know. But like, our people been fighting for representation and getting in where they could fit in for a long time, since the beginning of movies. Not even like, since the beginning. It's got over a century of film right now, and we was there in the beginning. Like, there's something circulating now. I forget what it's called. It's like, circulating on a lot on social media. It's like Black Love. It was like the first recorded kiss between a black man and a black woman. The old black and white film. It's probably like a minute, not even a full minute, probably. I don't think, because the way that was real film, old camera. So, but like, that existed in the early days. So like, yeah, back then you wasn't getting that a lot. But like, when we came up, I'm mid-70s, right? So my first real memory of television is nothing but black people. Soul Train, Don Cornelius, all the black entertainers and the black and brown people on camera. That's my first real memory of television. There's others, of course, a lot of it white, but like, black people and positive representation of black people has always been in my radar ever since I was a kid coming up. TV was becoming normalized and becoming the popular culture as we move into the 80s. And I mean, you see what it is now. So, but like, you growing up and then you looking at television and movies, 80s, I mean, late 70s, going into the 80s, and then your childhood is like entering the 90s or whatever. Like, from like 86 to like 96, we ran television. Don't get me started. Really, it started in like 70s, like 76 to like 96. We had a good 20-year run where we just kept going on and on and on and on. The tipping point was, of course, it was building since the 70s, and then the tipping point, of course, was the Cosby Show. I know his name is kind of taboo right now, but you're not taking away what he contributed to the entertainment canon. You can't take that away, period. So anyway, so like, for me, like, I imagine that like the elder generation of performers and entertainers and actors and artists and singers and all of them who fought hard as hell for the representation that they got in the business, be hearing some of the younger generation talk about they didn't see this and they didn't see that. And it's like, the fuck are y'all talking? We was fighting our asses off to get that representation. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you talking about? And now, with the advent of the technological age that we have and all of the audiovisual, and us coming back and reclaiming and putting into the spotlight what we created, there's googobs of footage of us, and then it's positive stuff. Some negative, of course, is going to be negative, right? And we have to acknowledge the negative, but like we have to acknowledge the positive. We can't wait for them to acknowledge the positive for us. They were the ones who were keeping us from having they were the ones working so hard to keep us from having positive images of ourselves, and us fighting so hard against them. Like like this is a personal field of study for me, and I've read books and done research, and it's like the amount of things that white executives believed and spouted, actually to this day, the lies that they tell each other. When we're not around, they tell each other lies about us, and we keep proving their lies wrong, and they keep shifting their lies, right? But we hear those stories and all that. But like, we're gonna acknowledge, the native, but we have to acknowledge our positive and always put it up, because they're gonna acknowledge the negative. They're the ones who put it out, all of the negative about us in the first place. We acknowledge negative when it's realistic. They create what they create because, yeah, but they're negative people. We're not, and so we have to be the guardians of what is best and great about us and all of the positive things that are out there. So like, for quick examples, there's more, but like, 70s going into the 80s, you had Good Times, you had the Jeffersons, you had What's Happening, right? Different stroke. Like, Good Times was 74, 79. What's Happening was 76 to 79. Sanford and Son, 72 to 77. Right? Benson, 79 to 86. Some of y'all don't know Benson, but like, I remember Benson. Yeah, and for those you remember, that wasn't a positive representation. He was the butler in the mayor's office, or I think it was the mayor or the governor or whatever. It's like, what do you mean it wasn't a positive representation? It was a black man. He was the smartest person in the show, and he was actually the one running things all the time. He worked for the governor, but he was the smartest person. That was the gag of the show. And 79, 86, 7 seasons. Can't front on that, right? Different Strokes, 78 to 86. Everybody remembers Different Strokes. Come on, son. The Jeffersons, 75, 85. 10-year run. Cosby Show, 84, 92. Come on. Different World, 87, 93. Rock, 91 to 94. I'm not going to do all of the shows that were in the 90s because, like I said, the tipping point was Cosby Show, 84. Cosby Show ran shit. The whole run, 84 to 92. That's eight seasons, right? And like, I think the first 6 he was number one. The first 6 seasons he was number one every year. I think the 7th season was number one. I know the last season wasn't number one, but it wasn't like it wasn't. It's not like it fell to like number 10. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, son. Cosby Show tipped it, and then Different World set it off in the stratosphere, which was a shoot-off of the Cosby Show, right? And then you had the whole run of shows that we had, going into the 90s up until about 96, 97, right? Living Single, the blueprint for a lot of white shit that came after it. We're not gonna mention that show because I never watched it. Don't watch it. And the other one too, don't watch it. The one that was on cable, I think HBO, with the white ladies. It's cute. No, Living Single was my shit. Anyway, we're not gonna go there right now. But oh yeah, I forgot to get the dates for Soul Train, because Soul Train, what Don Cornelius did, like, getting his show on the air, and like, he was the owner of his show. Come on, son. And all he did was us, right? So look at that, Soul Train. 1971 to 2006. I don't think there's an independently run black show ever that ran that long. 81, 91, 2001. That's a 35-year run. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't follow it after, I stopped watching it after a certain point, and my, as I got older, I wasn't checking for TV that much. When I graduated high school, I didn't really watch TV a lot, and then, so, I catch stuff when I catch stuff, and especially when I go home to visit my mom, I'm on cable, so I watch a whole lot of stuff. I don't have cable here because, like, I don't watch TV. I don't want to watch TV, right? I watch movies, I read books, and I know things. But, yeah, so, like, but yeah, all those actors that put in work, Sidney Poitier, James Earl Jones, Diane Carroll, you know, Esther Roll, James Avery, Cosby, Duncan, Isabel Sanford, Debbie Morgan, Blair Underwood, Denzel. Denzel been doing it since from back. Y'all want to sleep. Back in the day, he was on television. What was that doctor show he did? I forget. But Sherman Hemsley. I mentioned Robert Guillaume with Benson. Nell Carter, Ben Vereen, Lawrence Fishburne, doing it since forever. Bill Duke, doing it since forever. Morgan Freeman, doing it since forever. Louis Gossett Jr., doing it since forever. Like, LeVar Burton, doing it since... Come on, man. Really? Really? LeVar Burton been doing it. And then Star Trek Next Generation. Come on, Geordie LaForge. Like, when see, real quick. Let me look that one up real quick. Let me look that one up. Because I almost forgot to mention that one. That you know what I'm saying? Next Generation. 87 to 94. And then the movies. 87 to 94, 7 years. Geordie LaForge, come on, son. And Whoopi Goldberg was on there, and Whoopi been doing it since forever. Like, stop it with the like. If I hear anybody that's my age, anybody 50 and younger talking about, I'm gonna get on I hear him in interviews and I didn't see, I'm getting on your IG, your Twitter, whatever, and I'm calling you out. Stop lying. Stop lying. Because you saw positive. You saw positive representations of yourself in the media. That's why you got in the media. After a certain age, like before the age range I'm talking about, like 50, so that's what, 71, before 70, 71, the actors and entertainers that were getting in the business, they had some representations, right? But like for the most part, they had just a drive. They had a drive to do what they want to do what they wanted to do, to sing, to act, dance, whatever. They had a drive and they just followed it without a lot of representation. The newer generation after that, you might have had a drive, but now you had something that those earlier people didn't have, which is representation of self on those screens. So it does them a disservice to keep repeating that false narrative. Oh, I didn't have no. Yes, you did. That's one of the reasons why you were inspired to follow your dreams and continue, because if you born from 71 after, you had positive representation in media, and that was part of your inspiration for wanting to go forward. Unless you just one of those few people whose parents didn't let them watch media, but you had a natural drive towards entertainment, and whether it's music or acting or whatever, and but like really, no, we live in the technological information age really started in that era with the popularization of television and then cable and then following into the internet. So like, nah, you don't get to say I never saw it. No, stop it. Stop with the lies. You had positive representation of black people in your psyche from television and movies. More television than movies, going back that early, but there was positive representation in movies. So I'm going to be doing a whole lot of different things like this. And it always comes back to language. Like, for me, I'm a big language person. It's like, I did my language episode talking about we have to be more proactive and positive with the language we use, particularly in respect to ourselves and our history, and that's part of it. We have to stop saying we never saw or I didn't see. Yes, you did, and you need to big up the people that put in the work that helped inspire you, because they always talking about, oh, I've heard a lot of actors that's been around for a minute now is just talking about, oh, so and so was my idol, and there were so many at back then, so many people fighting and sacrificing. They say, I didn't grow up seeing myself on screens and stages in a positive way. Which one is it? Was so and so your idol, and you saw them on the screen or stage, or did you not have any positive, or did you not have any representation growing up? You can't say both things. Like sometimes you could say something where it seems like an opposite, but you know it can exist. Two opposing kind of ideas can exist in the same space, but not in that instance. Not in that instance. You can't say such and such was my idol, and there were so many people fighting to get in the industry, which means if you can say, so many people fought and sacrificed to be in this industry, to represent us in this industry, then you can in the next breath say, I didn't see, or in the first breath say, I didn't see positive representations. If you can say so many sacrificed and fought, then you're aware. That means you've seen it. You gotta pick, man. Be positive. Big up those who were your idols and leave it at that. Don't reiterate this false negative narrative that doesn't, it doesn't benefit us to keep saying old shit that no longer is relevant for us. But this generation has no business saying they didn't see positive representations of self in media. It's a false narrative. Stop it. Because this younger generation, that's all they got is they got nothing but us. With the growth of especially hip hop culture, it's like we've always been what is popular in this country. We always dictate what's popular and what moves forward the culture. Everything moves for this whole country moved forward because of us. This is not a debate. Black people are the whole reason why America continues to move forward. Even when America fights us, which it's been doing the whole time, it's been fighting to oppress us the whole time, and we've always been pushing forward and forcing the oppressors to evolve or get out the way since the beginning. So this is why we're amazing people, and it's understandable that's why they're afraid of us. We take everything negative and evil and violent that they could throw at us, and we continue to move forward positively. That's where I'm ending this. Acknowledge the positive, leave the negative stuff alone, and because it's not serving the narrative anymore. It's just not. I see. What's the name of the? I'm gonna edit this. I'm a hope, but yeah. If there's that's the what I wanted to say. And if you're curious about, black people in in movies and films, there's some great books by Donald Bogle, and yeah, he's a great historian on blacks in films, and I've got like several of his books along with others. So it's a great history that we have in film and television, and those people who want to say There was no positive. Go educate yourself, please, because the narrative's tired. Let it go. Um, that's it. So, thanks for visiting the Dragon's Den. I know I'll be jumping all over the place sometimes, but I always bring it back. That's what I do. So, thank you for coming to the Dragon's Den. I will see you next time. Young old man out. Peace.